Let's roll.
We'll call the regular meeting in the New Ulm Economic Development Authority for Tuesday, April 12th, 2016, 8 a.m. to order. First item on the agenda is roll call. We do have a quorum, so we'll go to item number 2, minutes of the last meeting.
I'll offer a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
We got a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any questions, concerns? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item number 3 from the New Ulm Economic Development Authority Coordinator regarding activities during the month of March 2016. He's here if anybody has any questions for him.
Anything you want to point out, Brian?
Just we've had some activity. See that there's a number of businesses that are looking at expansions.
Could you go to the mic, Brian?
Brian Toole, New Ulm Economic Development Corporation. So you can see that there's a number of businesses that are looking at expansions, which is a very good thing. We went through kind of a slow period, 2008, 2009. But if there's any questions, I'd be willing to answer.
We had talked in the past about, an advertising budget. Is that still something that feel that you need to?
We have a very small advertising budget. We run a deficit budget, quite frankly, by, we pull 25, 30,000 out of our savings every year. So, it's hard to do significant advertising.
Sure.
Anything else, Brian?
I'll offer a motion to approve the report.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to approve the report. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item number 2, consider a resolution approving the 2016 Public Housing Program Annual Plan. Heather?
Right, I think the first thing we need to do is open and close the public hearing for this item.
Okay. Since it's a public hearing, anybody like to be heard? Seeing none, I'll offer somebody to make a motion, to close public hearing.
I'll make the motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
We got a motion and a second, close public hearing. Heather?
All right, you have in front of you the final 2016 PHA annual plan. You received the draft at the last meeting for your review. This is just something that is required on an annual basis by HUD, where we review our policies and procedures for our public housing and Section 8 programs, and have meetings with the participants of the programs to get their feedback. And those comments are attached to this action item for your review. Other than that, I don't have anything to discuss. There were no major changes to our policies this year.
With that, I'll offer a resolution approving the PHA annual plan.
I'll second it.
We got a motion and a second off the resolution, waived reading. Any more discussion? Seeing none, Heather, please call the roll.
All right, Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Gugesberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Schultz?
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz?
Yes.
Commissioner Wallers?
Yes.
And President Schmitz.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 5 from the EDA staff regarding administrative activities during the month of March 2016. Heather?
Right, a review of the Section 8 program can be found on pages 1 through 5 of your report. We had 100 vouchers on the program for the month of March. Housing assistance disbursements from HUD exceeded payments to landlords by $2,786 for March. Administrative fee disbursements exceeded expenses by $764. Note the unaudited balances as of March 31st. Note we had 101 vouchers on the program as of April 1st with a waiting list of 66. Staff continues to issue new vouchers to utilize our funding. And note that staff has submitted an application for additional set-aside funding for Category 2B portability. The application deadline is this Friday, April 15th. So we should hear something in the near future if we've been approved for any additional funding. We have applied for and received this funding in the past to help offset the cost of participants who take their voucher and port out to higher cost areas. Right now, we have had 4 port outs that we are being billed for. We just added a 5th in April. So that funding does help with those costs. Any questions on Section 8? If not, then we'll move on to the public housing report found on pages 6 through 9 of your report. Note the monthly and year-to-date activity. As of March 31st, revenues have exceeded expenditures by $16,843. Broadway House is fully leased with 63 on the waiting list. Broadway House has 40 apartments available, and they are all leased at this time. Family units are fully leased with 70 on the waiting list, and again, we have 10 family unit rental houses. Note that the Broadway House tenants recently have indicated an interest in starting a book club, so we are working with the public library, and we will be starting that in May. Any questions on public housing?
Is that a waiting list for Broadway House stayed pretty consistent? I mean,
Both waiting lists have been growing,
been
Broadway
growing?
House and the family
Okay.
units. One thing we've done with the Section 8 program is we only take new applications for local applicants. I am considering making that change to the public housing waiting list as well, because we do get a lot of applicants from out of the area that, you know, whether they want to relocate to New Ulm or not, I don't know, but the waiting list is getting very lengthy. One thing we need to look at doing is doing a waiting list purge, sending letters out to everyone, see if they're still interested. Maybe we'll get some closed that way, and then see where we're at.
Can we do that this coming month, just so we can see what a real
I
list?
made a note to myself to start working on that.
Great,
so.
thank you.
Why would somebody from outside of the area, what's their advantage to going on our waiting list if they're not really interested in coming
Well,
here?
if they're living somewhere that is unaffordable and they are hoping to get rental assistance, a lot of times they'll go on the HUD website and they'll look at whoever has an open waiting list, and they apply everywhere. Whether they really understand that they actually need to relocate if their name comes up, I think people get it mixed up with the Section 8 program. And sometimes when we do contact someone from out of the area and we explain to them that they have to relocate to New Ulm, you know, in order to live in that property, sometimes then we find out they really aren't interested in relocating. So it's, you know, but they're free to apply, and if they're eligible, they're placed on the waiting list.
So is it our questionnaire, or is it is it the HUD questionnaire? I mean, can we ask that question? Or a disclaimer, you understand that if you accept this voucher, you need to relocate to New Ulm, yes, no, type thing? Can we do that or not? Just to try to eliminate those folks that are
You know,
confused?
I think it is listed that way on the application, that they are, you know, properties that are located in New Ulm, Minnesota. But I think when people are applying and they're filling out application after application, how much they're actually reading through it, I don't know.
All right, thank you.
Okay, if there's no further questions, we'll move on to the EDA fund on page 10 of your report. Note cash assets of just under $508,000. Construction has started on the new spec house in the Milford Heights subdivision. The foundation is going in as we speak, so. There was one change order that's come in. Jason in the building official's office is acting as the general contractor, and he sent me an email yesterday that because of the soil conditions, they're having to go deeper on the footings. So there will be an added cost there, but he didn't have an estimate for me. Moving on to the property rehabilitation. Oh, sorry.
We have one house that's ready to go, correct? Or
Yes, there is a house for sale currently.
have we had any showings or anything? 'Cause I'm hearing there's no decent housing in town available, but,
They're showing it. We haven't received an offer.
okay.
Moving on to the rehab loan program on page 11 of your report, note available funds of $309,000 there. 2 new loans were approved in March, and there was one new inquiry, but no application on that one as of yet. Both loans, I believe, were $25,000.
We'll be bringing the the revised program description for approval for the next meeting. So then we'll be looking at 50,000 as the limit.
And a lowered interest rate on one of them too, correct? I remember right?
Well, I believe so. Instead of having one program, we'll have the two. One's a small loan program, one's the bigger loan program. So all that will be on your next agenda to review and approve and modify if so desired.
Right, note the rental property report on page 12, cash assets of just under $70,000 there. And finishing up then with the Garden Terrace report on pages 13 through 15. Garden Terrace is fully leased for the first time in several months, with 55 on the waiting list. Currently no vacancies, no turnovers last month, and no move-out notices pending for May. So good news there.
One question I guess I would ask, though, is since we do have the one inquiry on the loan program, is the EDA comfortable with moving forward on allowing a $50,000 loan? I mean, that was the direction we were going to. That's what we're going to bring to you. If for some reason this particular individual is interested in the 50 number as compared to the 25, is that the direction you want to go?
I think so. I think we were at 25 for how many years? Many, 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 many years. So I think we seriously need to take a look at that. And with the bank vetting them out, I'm absolutely fine with moving forward with that.
Okay.
It's just my opinion.
Depends what else has changed in the program.
Yeah, in that respect, nothing other than the amount was changing. The really the new stuff is that that small up to 5,000 secondary zero interest loan. That was the new one. The big loan really stayed the same except for the increase in from 25 to 50. I just ask in case it comes up. I'm kind of going like, there's going to be a month.
Like,
This person says, I want to get going, but I need 40,000. Are you comfortable with reviewing, or at least allowing that to happen, knowing full well that you instructed us to go up to 50?
Yep,
Everybody's okay with it?
I'm fine with it.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll see how it turns out then.
Anybody have any questions for Heather? Entertain a motion accepting it?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to accept the report. No more discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 6A, consider adoption of a revised utility allowance schedules for the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program. Heather?
Okay, the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program provides rental assistance to people in the community that are renting from private landlords. And part of that program, their portion of the rent is based on the rent and any tenant-paid utilities. So there are utility allowances for New Ulm, Sleepy Eye, Springfield, and then rural Brown County, because we do serve Brown County. And then there's a utility allowance for each location for apartment, duplex, single-family home, and mobile home. So lots of utility allowances for this program that we review annually. We contact all the utility providers in those areas to get the current rates and plug those into a formula and come out with the new rates each year. So that work has been done, that review has been done. The overall, the utility allowances have remained stable as compared to last year. The significant change I noticed was a large decrease in LP and bottled oil heating rates from last year. Note, however, that particular utility allowance is almost never used with our program because most of the rental units we work with are within city limits and are using either natural gas or electric heat through the city utility or Xcel Energy in the case of Sleepy Eye in Springfield. So although that was a significant decrease, it really should have very minimal impact on our program for the upcoming year. So you can see attached the utility allowance schedules that would be effective May 1st.
Thank you. Any questions?
I'll move it.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to adopt the revised program, or schedule. No more discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 7A, consider authorizing the New Ulm Baseball Association request to utilize the EDA-owned lot at 4th North Street and Broadway. Mr. Skillings.
Just kidding.
Mr. President and Commissioners, the New Ulm Baseball Association wants to promote our baseball games at Johnson and Miller this summer, and we'll use a portable sign to do that. We've done that in the past on Broadway. You know, obviously that would be the best place to put it. And the property that we were at before is a private company now, and so 4th and Broadway seems like a good place, if you would agree and allow us to do that.
Any concerns from anybody?
I have no concerns. I'm wondering if we should talk to Park and Rec about them buying one and putting one there permanently to use for football games, for everything. I mean, more than just when they need it. I don't know. It's just an idea, but I like the idea. I'm fine with it.
I don't have a problem with it.
I don't either.
All right.
Move it.
Entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
We got a motion and a second to approve it. Any more discussion? Seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bob.
Item 7B, consider resolution to declare surplus property and authorize disposal of it.
All right, I just have 2 items. We have a John Deere lawn tractor that we've used over at Broadway House, purchased in 2001. We have been advised it's not worth repairing at this point, so we've purchased a new one, and just a office phone that was malfunctioning that's been replaced.
So where's that gonna go?
Once items have been declared surplus, they go to the city storage, and they have a annual or semi-annual garage sale.
Right. If it's a vehicle that goes onto the state vehicle website, we got probably 3 or 4 different sites we use for that. Something like a lawn tractor, if it's not traded in on the new one, then it gets put in a holding location until such time as we have the annual auction of all the miscellaneous stuff. Usually try and tie it into another auction that's going on so that there's enough interest to get rid of the stuff.
And I'm assuming our city policy must be that it needs to come in front of us of a value of over $50. That's why we have a phone for $52.
No, I think these are the original cost of the items. The city code basically says you're supposed to say what the value is now.
Right.
And so if it has minimal value, it might have $50 value, might have $10 value. It may just be salvage. Sometimes we just have pick it up, haul it to, Noam Stone Recycling. It's worth whatever you can get
Right.
for it. So in the future, we'll just put the value of the item as it currently sits as compared to what we originally paid for it. So it doesn't really matter how much it costs. The city code says you put a value of
Okay.
what its current is. So if it's $1, if it's 0, if it's,
That's right. We've had some from the city that are zero value. That's right.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just noting that, for our purposes, if we say it has salvage value, minimal, maybe, something like this, maybe we got to pay to get rid of it,
That's true.
It has a negative value.
I was just looking at a phone. How much value is a real
Yeah.
old
The
city
phone is
really
probably
have,
zero.
It's
you
not
know?
working, it doesn't
Like,
work,
I'm not-
that's why we got a new
Yeah.
one.
I'm not bidding on it.
If somebody wants to pull the copper wire out of it, I
Maybe,
suppose they
yeah.
might get something. But
Even that'd be a stretch.
I think you
Okay.
get $1 worth of copper.
I'll offer the resolution.
Second.
We got a motion, second to offer the resolution, waive the reading. Any more discussion? Seeing none. Heather, please call the roll.
All right, Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Gugesberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Schultz?
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz?
Yes.
Commissioner Wallers?
Yes.
And President Schmitz?
Yes, motion carries. Excuse me. Item 7C, consider motion authorizing payment of the public housing program claims.
And I'll
Anything we
just
should be
have
worried
you
about?
note this month, we did pay our annual property insurance and property taxes, so this was a larger than normal claim month with those items.
Sure.
So next month, our report will probably reflect that our revenues did not exceed our expenditures.
I'll move the claims.
I'll second it.
We got a motion and a second. No more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 8A, consider resolution authorizing a loan from the EDA Fund 260 to the city TIF Fund H5 Fund, which is 365.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is our normal, unfortunately, our normal thing that we need to do each year to be able to pay those special assessments that the TIF fund pays to do a loan, an interfund loan. And in this case, though, I did get some information late last week that I was unable to make the change for here. So we can actually decrease that by another $3,000 due to the increase in the TIF that we should receive this year. So we should be able to do a loan for $58,000 then, and that should be sufficient, I believe. So.
Okay, thank you.
And just as a background for some of the maybe the newer members is that the tax increment financing is set up to pay for the street improvements and utilities, water, sewer, and subgrade. We'll be looking at actual street and street lights, curb and gutter and sidewalk, all that will be going in which case the property generating the taxes, that amount is supposed to pay for that also. Because of the time that it's taking to get this development put together, back in 2007, it seemed like we could probably put this 30 lot development, put it to rest in 3 or 4 years, and then you capture the full tax increment for the entire 25 years kind of a thing. That's not what happened. Obviously 2008 occurred and we're all aware of what happened there, so this has been a little bit slower in coming. So then because the homes aren't built, they're not paying taxes, and if they're not paying taxes, they can't pay for the street, the water, and the sewer. So that's what this loan is for. We don't have all the homes there paying taxes, in which case if we did, maybe this amount would be, way smaller, or it may not be there at all. We're going to be adding to this cost with the next year's, or is it this street project? Curb and gutter, light, asphalt. And so you'll see this number actually dramatically increase. All right. Offsetting that projected is the garden terrace properties that are generating roughly anywhere from $400,000 to $500,000 a year. The EDA will then, probably have to make a determination, and since the property taxes will not, they're barely making the first phase of the development coverage for the expenses. They're definitely not, going to make the second series, and therefore the EDA can then decide, do we take some of those Garden Terrace monies and just pay these loans off, because we will be paying an interest rate. So, money in our hand, get rid of that debt and move on. The negative to that is if you have these loans all the way through the 25th year kind of a thing, and then whatever is left over that's not paid for, you could pay for it then too. But then our finance officer every year would be coming to you going, well, we need to have another $150,000 loan, and then in 15 years we'll balance it all out and pay off what we owe and all that stuff. So it's kind of a, do you do it now when you've got the money, or do you string it out to the full 25 years and see what happens? So that decision will be coming up, and staff is prepared, I think, at this point in time to kind of say, here's a plan when we get to that point. So, you'll have some guidance from us, and you'll have the information to hopefully make the best decision possible. But this is one of those projects that the numbers were there to start with. The state actually changed taxation law, property tax law, which put us even in worse shape because of it, something that was beyond our control. And then, of course, the economy tanked and didn't do what we thought it was going to do. So more to come on this. But at some point in time, the EDA will have to decide, given the financials of the phase one, do we consider a phase two, or do we, like St. Peter did, sell off the land to a developer and say, you do this, and get on with the show? Which, just as an update, I know St. Peter was on the news over the weekend, and they're basically talking about affordable homes in the $250,000 range, and I'm kind of going like, well, maybe St. Peter considers that affordable homes, and I don't know that New Ulm does, but it's interesting that they got a program that's they just kicked off, and I don't remember how many homes that was. I don't know, 50 spec houses kind of a thing, or 35 spec houses, but that I don't know that project would work here in New Ulm. It may work in St. Peter.
I'm hoping that area will have a lot more interest once we get the road tarred and curbed
Yep.
and like lighting. I don't know how much negative that brings to people's buying decisions, but
Yeah, I think curb appeal is going to make a big difference.
I'm really hoping so anyway.
It can't hurt.
Yeah.
Ever hear any negatives about that?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be
Okay.
helpful.
Yep.
And the new high school's up there now.
Yep. Yep.
So this will be ongoing. You'll see this every year until it's paid off.
I'm going to offer the resolution.
Second.
We got a motion, a second off the resolution, waived reading. Any more discussion?
Just note, so I should change that to $58,000?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Seeing none? Heather, please call the roll.
All right, Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Gugesberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Schultz?
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz?
Yes.
Commissioner Wallers?
Yes.
And President Schmitz.
Yes, motion carries. With no more business, meeting adjourned.